Today, we're going to take a closer look at Nvidia and some updates impacting the overall semiconductor market. We're only a few days before earnings, and we continue to see price target hikes by analysts. Outside of that, ASML also just had their Investor Day presentation, and they did share some insight about the semiconductor space. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. But before we get started, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for a special offer at fool.com/Jose, and check out a special coupon for my earnings book at the pinned comments below.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
There might be some investors that are waiting and wondering why Nvidia is not really doing much when maybe some other stocks are doing a lot more. I think right now the market is just pretty much waiting for earnings coming next week. So the first thing I want to jump into is ASML. So ASML today had their Investor Day event, and the stock was up roughly 2.9%, sitting at $692. I want to say, while I'm not a shareholder of ASML, I am very bullish about the overall semiconductor equipment market right now in the long term of things. And we can see the stock right now from its 6-month high is down about 36%. And just a quick reminder, in their last earnings, the company kind of gave weaker bookings than expected. And I believe their guidance was also a little bit weaker due to the overall market sentiment right now. So a lot of investors were curious of what was going to happen in this investor event, and was there going to be any bullish sentiment towards the overall space? And I believe the answer is yes. Again, I am very bullish in the semiconductor equipment space right now for the long term of things. And while I'm not a buyer of ASML, I also do believe that this can benefit in the next few years due to the overall growth in the AI space. Now, kind of jumping to what they said during their Investor Day, ASML, the most important thing is they are confirming their annual revenue for 2030 to be between 44 billion euros to 60 billion euros. And this is very important, right? Because this is the actual guidance they gave at their last Investor Day, which I believe was hosted on 2022. So this continues to showcase that, hey, look, while ASML might see some weakness in the short term of things for the semiconductors market, in the long term of things, they are still very, very bullish. So overall, this kind of gave a bullish sentiment that the semiconductor market is still trending in the positive direction. And I wouldn't have thought any differently, right? Semiconductors are used for all types of technology, from autonomous vehicles, AI accelerators, space travel, satellites, phones, computers. The list goes on and on. So by no means was I ever worried about the semiconductor space, but it's great to kind of get that sentiment from ASML. They mentioned that the long-term outlook for the semiconductor industry remains promising, given the role of semiconductors as mission-critical enablers of multiple megatrends across society, pretty much what I just mentioned. They also said, in addition to the growth potential of several important end markets, ASML believes that the emergence of AI creates a significant opportunity for the semiconductor industry, thanks to the potential that AI brings as the next big driver of productivity and innovation across wider societies. Remember, 2-3 years ago, the AI market was pretty much non-existent, and now it's a multi-hundred billion dollar market within the next year or two. So this is going to help accelerate that growth in the semiconductor space. They also believe that these developments are going to help fuel semiconductor sales to over $1 trillion by 2030, which translates into an annual semiconductor market growth rate of approximately 9% in the periods between 2025 and 2030. Obviously, this is, in my opinion, very bullish, because it doesn't mean that semiconductor companies are only going to grow 9% every year. There's going to be those high growth stocks, those stocks that are going to be eating market share, the ones that are going to be just growing in new spaces, and those are going to be able to continue to grow at rapid levels throughout the next few years. So overall, in my opinion, this was very bullish for not just ASML, but very bullish for the semiconductor space. And that is why I believe in the long term of things, right now, the semiconductor equipment is pretty is great opportunities, again, for long-term investors, not for those that are waiting for great returns in the next 6 months, but for those that are wanting to get into the space and don't mind holding and seeing great returns within the next few years. I believe this is definitely a great market opportunity. Now I want to jump into some analyst upgrades. So first we have Susquehanna adjusted their price target on Nvidia to 180 from 160. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, and I always do, but whatever. We continue to see this bullish sentiment here. We also saw Raymond James adjust their price target on Nvidia to 170 from 140. Remember, we do have earnings in less than 7 days, and I will be live streaming it here on the channel, so make sure to hit the thumbs up. Now, one of the most bullish price targets right now comes from HSBC, which they adjusted their price target on Nvidia to $200 from $145. Right now, $200. This is not the only company, I believe, that has a price target of $200, but it's one of the highest I've seen during this pre-earnings upgrade. Also, we have Oppenheimer adjust their price target on Nvidia to 175 from 150. We actually do have some commentary from Oppenheimer, and it mentions that they expect to see strong results for its fiscal quarter 3 and positive outlook for quarter 4, primarily due to the overall demand of AI accelerators from cloud service providers and enterprise customers. I mean, we've heard from big tech, they are going to continue to spend, and obviously the enterprise market is really pushing now more into the AI space. At the end of this episode, we're actually going to take a closer look at one of those enterprise players as well. They believe that data center revenue is projected to increase by 9% quarter over quarter, and the networking segment, which is about 14% of data center revenue, is expected to grow 9%. They also see growth in other segments like the PC gaming market and the automotive segment, but right now those are very small compared to the overall data center space. So overall, Oppenheimer is very, very bullish on Nvidia right now. Now, the final upgrade that we have today is Wedbush, and Wedbush raises their price target to 160 from 138. First, they believe that the company will surpass their typical trend of outperforming revenue expectations by $2 billion, and they believe it's going to happen again, continue by that strong demand of AI spending from hyperscale customers and continue solid growth from non-hyperscale accounts. So this is something that has become now a new bullish trend, is the enterprise. Those are your non-hyperscale players, which are your enterprise building AI servers as well. Additionally, the brokerage raised its fiscal 2026 outlook for the company due to the increased confidence in accelerated hyperscale spending growth through 2025. Just a quick tidbit, fiscal 2026 for Nvidia is pretty much calendar of 2025. They're just so far ahead of the future that their fiscal year is about 1 year ahead. Now, they also see strong momentum in non-hyperscaler spend on data center GPUs through 2025 and 2026, including additional startups fundraising, new sovereign AI funds, and ongoing non-hyperscale data centers. I mean, just a few days ago, we saw how Japan is building a huge AI supercomputer with SoftBank. So that's a perfect example of sovereign AI. India is doing the same, and other nations are going to do the same. Then you have a lot of AI startups that continue to come out, especially as more people leave OpenAI. So that's going to be even more data centers from this startup. We continue to see xAI invest a lot in data center GPUs. So overall, the market sentiment is definitely true with what all these analysts are saying. Luckily, if you've been following this channel, this is not new news to you. It's just more reiteration and saying, hey, look, evidence that we have been on the right thesis in this channel right now. Now, the final thing I want to take a closer look at is Cisco. And Cisco is a company that I personally don't follow, but they reported earnings yesterday. And one thing that I found pretty interesting is it does seem like Cisco is entering the AI server market. So in the AI server space, they mentioned that they introduced high-density service purpose built for GPU-intensive AI workloads and plug-and-play industry-specific AI pods, making it easier for customers to deploy AI infrastructures. And during the earnings call, they mentioned that these are actually Nvidia solutions. So we continue to see more AI server competitors right now. Obviously, it's not good if you're a server company, but if you are Nvidia, now you have more people that are building servers for you and also selling them, so you potentially have more customers. So overall, this is very bullish as everybody's trying to get into this AI server space. Again, bullish for Nvidia, maybe not necessarily bullish for AI server companies. So I'm very excited about earnings, and let me just reiterate what I say a lot during earnings. I believe in the long term, Nvidia is going to be much bigger than it is right now, and that's looking at a very, very far multiple year time span. In the short term, I think anything could happen. I probably wouldn't be surprised if the stock took a huge hit after earnings or if it took a huge gain after earnings. Or either or would be great for me. If it goes up strongly, I'll be happy because Nvidia is a big portion of my portfolio. If it goes down, I wouldn't be too sad either because it would allow me to dollar cost average or add more into my position. So in the short term, volatility can hit any direction. In the long term, and I'm talking about the yearly long term, which many people don't like to hear about, I think Nvidia is still in the right tracks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.